Well, hello, hello, my lovely, luscious lions. I have not been in your energy in so long. And can we just take a moment to be in your energy? I have missed it. I have not been in this Leo energy in a while, and it just reminds me that it's such a good energy. Even though y'all are going through stuff, it's still such a good energy. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I'm at Simply Cindy. Uh, I am by a request by a Leo. Am doing decided to do as soon as I could some tarot and some astrology. They really wanted tarot, so I hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk about the new moon, but we're going to do some astrology and the new moon, and then I've done a four-card pull for you guys for the tarot. Yeah, and I'm already starting to channel. So. Um, Yeah, be sure and stay with me for a minute. Let's see how this pans out for you. So, on February 9th, we have the new moon in Aquarius, and it's been all about Aquarius energy lately. Um, and for those of you that don't know, I'm an ascendant Aquarian, so yeah, I get on my own nerves. Anyway, that's why it's so nice to be in the Leo energy. Leo's my sister sign. Leo's the opposite. Um, And I'll tell you more about that later. For those of you that have been following me for years, know me for years, you know that I kind of shut that part down, um, the Leo part, but we'll get into that later. So, this is about you. Let's see what's going on. February 9th, we have a new moon in Aquarius. If you look here, here's the sun and the moon. This astrology part is going to be for Leo ascending. That means you're rising or ascendant, right? So, Leo would be your first house. Um, for those, and I'm using whole signs for this particular part of the reading. So, with Aquarius, with the full moon being in Aquarius, this is a really important part of your chart right now. Because it's heavy and some things that need to be done, that need to be looked through, that needs to be, yeah, seen. Because you poor Leos, you've had some like come to Jesus moments, right, over the last couple of years. But anyway, so we have Aquarius. This is your seventh house. I know it says six right here, but that's just what's going on today or on the night. But for Leo ascending, this would be your seventh house. So you've got the full moon in the seventh house. I mean, new moon, sorry. And the new moon, you guys know, is about sort of directing your energy to be able to manifest those things in the coming months, right? Sort of the direction, which you're really good at anyway. Like you manifest way differently than Pisces manifests. You manifest a little bit more like a Capricorn Earth sign manifesting. I guess you could say that, but you have a lot of fire there, so I hope I'm explaining that right. Um, anyway, so you're pretty good at directing where you want your energy to go. Of all the signs of the three fire signs, you're the one that's pretty directed. So you kind of know usually where you want your energy to go. So that's the new moon. The new moon in Aquarius is in your seventh house. So you will be dealing with it in the area of partnership. That could mean love relationships, which I feel like that's a big issue with you guys now. Financial is a big issue with you guys right now, but that's partnerships in love, in um, relationships that are business and personal, right? So partnerships that could be business and personal. A lot comes to this seventh house, and I'm doing a Pluto series for you guys where I'm delving into each house and what Pluto means in that house, and then the Pluto that you're born with, and then it's the same Pluto, but I say the Pluto that you were born in your natal chart with, and then the Pluto that's going to be transiting over the next 15, 20 years, right? So that's a little deeper series that I'm doing, so I had to get out of that and decided because that was like that's a lot of emotion that I'm having to like uh, recount go in, all of that. So I decided to do this tarot for the new moon just to kind of get me out of that energy for a little bit. Anyway, for those of you that are going to have that are Leo ascending, you're going to have Pluto transiting your seventh house. Okay, so some of you Leos may have been born with Pluto in the seventh house. Um, yeah, you could have been born, but usually it's like I think it's Pisces. But you could have been born with. You have to look at your chart. You have to look at your natal chart. Anyway, Pluto's going to be transiting, so this house is really important to you right now. This house is like going to be a major theme for you, and it's starting pretty recently when Pluto went into Aquarius. But it's also showing me because it's focused in that house for you in the seventh house. So I feel like on the ninth, you'll see where Pluto and Mercury are there. And so that's in your seventh house. I feel like for some of you, kind of channeling here, some of you haven't been and this is interesting because usually Leos are pretty authentic. But I feel like for some of you, you weren't being authentic. And I don't mean like in an evil way. I meant like maybe you just didn't understand that part of you or weren't I'm hearing weren't acquainted with that part of you and how you deal with relationships. I feel like this is more of because this is subconscious. I feel like this is more of a habit that you had with relationships instead of being directed in what you want in relationships. Like only going by what your ego wanted and not what your true self has wanted. And I feel like that's what you've been going through over the last year, too. I mean, some of you have had some really positive things happen with relationships. And that's not what I'm getting here. What I'm getting here are those people that weren't being honest, Leos that weren't being honest with themselves. So you have such a capacity for opening your heart easily, which is something to me admirable. I admire that. Again, sister sign opposite. Aquarius opposite, right? We have to like think about it. You guys just lovingly, which is why I love your energy, lovingly just open your heart when you want somebody or want something or your heart goes into it like full force. Like you are so fearless about that. But it can't open yourself up to the disappointments, the abandonments, the betrayals, the lot of betrayals. So I feel like um, Pluto being here is really going to, because Pluto brings up your fears. Pluto brings up past traumas, whether that's past lives, whether that's childhood, whether that's future lives, right? Pluto brings up the obsessions, the fear, the trauma. Pluto brings all of that up, and it just began to go into your first house for those of you that are transit your first house for those of you that are Leo rising, right? Leo ascendant. But here's the thing. I feel like because this house is also activated, it's got Mars and Venus, and it will have Mars and Venus in there. It's got it now, but it will have Mars and Venus in there February 9th for your moon. All this is connected. Bear with me. Hang in there. So, your sixth house, which is a really important house, and I feel like a lot of you, like you're so fearless that you weren't taking care of yourself health wise, wealth wise, but you really weren't taking care of yourself in your daily grind and the daily things that you do because that's your sixth house. And I do feel like some of you may have like gotten ill, gotten sick, um, because it wasn't balanced in there, because you were working too hard and not paying attention to you, or maybe you felt overextended and couldn't, like you felt like you couldn't pay attention to you. But it's really important for you especially for Leos, you got to work out. You got to work out. Maybe not like go to the gym and work out, but take a nice walk, do a sport, something. But with Venus and Pluto here, I feel like some of you that did hear the call to do that, you will be gaining some sort of gift in there. Like maybe you got to your goal of losing weight, maybe you got to your goal of eating correctly, maybe you're like 2 months in and you're doing well at being vegetarian, you're doing well at eating all organic foods, you're doing well at I'm still feeling illness here. I feel illness and I feel like you're on the road to recovery. This is so interesting because I don't usually talk about illnesses and stuff um, by choice. It's not that I don't see it, it's just by choice. But I feel like with Venus and Mars, I feel like you get help, and I feel like you could have, for some of you may have turned this. Let me stay on track of the illness. You're getting good news. You're on track to getting healthy if you aren't already there. And on the 9th, I feel like it's more progression into that, and you'll see some results of that. Like, I do see somebody running a marathon and then doing really well. That's so weird. I'm seeing somebody running and like it's mountainous, or yeah, it's mountainous. Um, I know that's random, sorry. But I feel like more so with the relationship part, because your seventh house is being activated, I feel like you actually want to move forward with whoever you've been dating over the last couple of years. I'm seeing a 3-year relationship. I feel like that you get really clear about that. I feel like you'll get word with that with the I feel like you get some word that triggers a past trauma. Like if you weren't always truthful in a relationship and so you have these triggers about them lying, um, I feel like on the 9th or around that time, you may get some signals that they may be, this is so weird, that they may be acting in a way that would trigger you to think that maybe they're not being on the up and up about something. But I'll tell you, if that person isn't for you, that trigger is true because Pluto brings up your fear and your obsessions, right? And your past traumas. But it could be that Pluto, because I do see this for some of you, that you have been truthful and you do want to do it right this time. And I feel like that's few of you. And I feel like that could just be your own self over calculating and thinking you see something that you don't. So just be very aware, which is why I think that you need to like with this Mars and Venus conjunct talking to each other in your sixth house. I see this two ways. I see this as Mars and Venus gifting you with that partnership. Some of it is business. Some of you have been burned by business deals and you're kind of leery because maybe you weren't always on the up and up, but this is something that you've been like dealing with over the last 2 years, a year, and maybe you're seeing signs lately. That's Pluto bringing up your fears, bringing up some trigger points, and maybe you got news, maybe you uh, got to thinking about it, and then one and one equals two, kind of added it up in your head. But I feel like with this new moon and with this being in your sixth house, I feel like this comes home. Does that make sense? I feel like whatever this gift is, you see very clearly, and then like maybe it's a contract that you have to sign to say yes, I am going into business with you, or we are doing a collaboration, or we are blah blah blah. Whatever this is, it brings it home, and you get this gift that's going to be in your daily routine. So like it could be a new job, it could be a new collaboration, it could be a new business, it could be a new something, right? I see it that way, but I also see it as for those of you that have been dating for a while, have kept your heart open. I feel like Pluto sort of brings up some trauma, but it's about you and your growth. Like Pluto may bring up your insecurities, but it's the fear. of the insecurity, and it's something that you need to deal with. But I feel like over the next couple of months, you will get very, like, whoever this is that you're dating or you've been seeing for a while, like you're moving it to the next level. And I feel like they may be forward and say, let's move it to the next level, but it was something that you wanted anyway. And it's not like you're ever scared to move to the next level. That's not who you are, but you are a little gun shy because of the things that you've been through. People have, I feel a lot of betrayal, but I also feel like you weren't being on the up and up either. But I do feel a lot of betrayal over the last couple of years. Like again, I haven't been in your energy in a while, and I'm feeling like betrayal. I'm feeling like lies. I'm feeling like abandonment in the fact that you thought they were going to be there for you and they weren't there. That's what I feel like. And I feel like because of that, you have this natural ability to keep your heart open, but you're still kind of leery about, is this really what I'm seeing in this relationship with this new person or this person that I've been with for the last couple of years? Um, and then even in business, like I'm seeing it both ways. I'm seeing it in business as well. You're like, I've done this before with business partners and that they ended up screwing me and then they left me and they left me hanging, and it's because you have such an open heart. It's because you just want, I don't even think it's that you want, you just are. You just are that open-hearted person, right? But you have that ego where it wants what it wants and it wants to be caressed. It wants to be told. It wants to be, you got that side of you too. And I feel like that was the past part of you that didn't go so well. That basically, if you weren't being on the up and up, you got called out. And if they weren't being on the up and up, you figured it out. And if there was betrayal for both of you, it was brought out in the open. And that really hurt you. It really hurt you. And so you've been trying to recover probably for the last year is what I'm feeling. But I feel like now you're pretty directed. Now you're like ready to do this, but you're a little leery, which is what you kind of wanted. You wanted some growth with that. Now, for those of you that have this Pluto transiting for the next 20 years in the house of Aquarius, you are going to be dealing with partnerships and understanding your uh, your value in partnerships and understanding how to value partnerships, right? But you have to watch my seventh house Pluto series because I go deep in there and I talk about your past lives and your future lives. So uh, it would be really good for you, Leos, to go look at that one. I haven't released it yet because that one's a deep one. Because for me, it's in my natal chart, seventh house, right? It's about abandonment and it's about betrayal and it's about being what other people want you to be, even though you know that you want to be something else. And then you've done it for so long that you forget who you want to be, right? Does that make sense? So, the other thing I want to talk about, I don't think I talked about it in the other videos with the other signs, but you have Saturn here in Pisces, right? So Saturn is going to be in your eighth house, and so I think that's why I feel like some betrayal. I think that's why I feel like yeah, I feel like some betrayal, and I feel like in the past, this is what I feel like in the past. Maybe I can do this some justice. In the past, it was so easy for you to attract what you wanted. Yeah. Like if you wanted to attract love in a certain way, that would just come to you, right? But it's almost like the person that didn't understand the value of being able to attract what they want. So they didn't keep that sacred, they didn't keep that valuable, or they didn't make that valuable, and you kind of threw it away. You threw people away, you threw situations away, and this was in the past. And I feel like with Saturn being in, because it's going to be in your eighth house and it's in Pisces, I feel like you're coming to a new conclusion. You're coming to a new way of understanding. When I say it's work for relationships, I don't. mean to say that like you don't know how to do this, because you do know how to do this. You're really, really good. Like personally, I attract a lot of Leos when I'm dating. I have not dated in a long time. I decided not to because I like me. But I know how Leos date, men that date me. Like they are so good at dating. They're very, very good at dating. It comes natural to them. They're very gentlemanly and very overt in how they try to make you feel comfortable, and like I can go, they're very intimate. They're very like they just have their heart open, right? I feel like that came so easy for you guys in the past. This isn't everybody, but this is the main thing I'm feeling. Like everything came so easy for you in the past that you took advantage. And then it kind of stopped. And then some things blew up in your face. And then you got found out about some stuff. And then you found out about other people's stuff in relationships. And I'm talking not just personal, but not just love, but partnerships as well, or collaborations or anything like that. It's like it came so easy that you took advantage and didn't see the sacredness in it. I mean, sacred is a strong word, but it's not a harsh word, it's a strong word. But the value in it, right? And so then it stopped, and then it caused you to look, and then you got found out, and then you were finding that you were repeating all of these things again and again and again and again, and finding yourself in the same situation where you were empty inside, and people didn't see you for who you were, and they didn't appreciate you for what you did and all of that. And I feel like now you've come to this place where you understand and value it better. And I do feel like with Saturn here, I do feel like some of you are on the road to marriage, which I know that's not a big deal for a lot of you, but some of you are on the road to marriage. And by big deal, I mean like, again, you have this way of attracting what you want, right? Like easily. But I feel like that time has come, and I feel like for some of you, Saturn is making you really work on partnership that you have. Not this is partnership that you're going to make in the seventh. This is partnership that you have. Okay? So really appreciating that. This is what you'll be going through. And I know that's a little longer and this isn't about that, but I just wanted to include that because that was really strong when I was looking at your chart. So I'm just going to go, I just want to mention the Saturn, and then the new moon is really going to get you focused to bring in some things that you really wanted to bring in, but you got a little gun shy about. But I do feel like your fears are going to be tempted. I feel like they're going to come up. I feel like some obsessions may come up, and that you may have this habit of like, well, I'm going to get what I want, even when that is not actually what you want. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I feel like here you'll get some word for it. But I do feel like some of you are moving to the next level with this Mars and Venus in your sixth house. I do feel like if I'm talking to the smaller group that has illnesses, I do feel like that's going to get a lot better in this next year. And I feel like you're going to get word about that, and you're going to get some help about that. Okay? Which is really interesting because I never do that part. I never bring out illnesses. But I am opening my channel up to, for my channel on YouTube, I am opening up to herbalism, so maybe that's why. But okay, so for those of you that want a ritual or that makes you feel better to take some action, and you're Leo, so take some action. I would like for you to journal. This is what I'm getting from my higher self, to journal so that you can see your truth. And I really would like for you to, you don't really need to because y'all are really good at like clearing your energy, but uh, to help you so that you don't have to do it all the time, it would be really good for you to take the Epsom salt bath. So I have plenty of stuff on my channel for years and years and years. I've been saying to take an Epsom salt bath so that you can clear your energy, and to do it for only 10 minutes in the bathtub, right? No more, no less, 10 minutes with Epsom salt. You can have Epsom salt with lavender, or Epsom salt with lemon balm, or Epsom salt, whatever. But to kind of help you guys, I feel like some of you come home and you're like so freaking tired that you don't even realize that you're carrying other people's stuff because you're pretty good at letting it go, but there's some stuff because yeah, I'm not going to go all into that. I just know that I really would like for y'all to like journal. I feel like y'all need to journal just so that you can see what you want more clearly. And I know that's not a step y'all usually take, but that's what I'm hearing that it would help. Okay. So let's get on to this. I'm starting to channel, sorry. Let's get on to this. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. Let's get on to this tarot reading. Gosh. I start channeling and then I'm like, ugh. And y'all's energy is so lovely. It's so lovely. I love your energy and I missed it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. It just, maybe I've needed a Leo around me to like calm me down. Because y'all do calm me down. Okay. Anyway, so here we go. So I this is just a quick four. Well, it's not quick, but it's a four card pull, and it's just my own spread. This is where you're at now. So this is your foundation, and then this is where the energy that's coming in, where you're headed, and then this is what's blocking you. This is what's holding you back. This is what's getting in your way, and then this is actually the outcome, which is really interesting because I'm gonna have to look at that card even more. This is the Wheel of Fortune if you can't see. Um, my lighting isn't the best right now. Again, I'm just getting back into doing tarot on YouTube, so I'm gonna have to fool around with bring like because I have professional lights and all that kind of stuff, but I gotta work on bringing it out, getting the right angle and all that. And that's just too much right now. It's too much for me. Okay, so your foundation is the Three of Pentacles. Can you see that? So your foundation is the Three of Pentacles. You again, like I said, you have been working on this. You have been um, really taking it seriously this time. Like you really have taken it seriously. Um, and you've put enough work in that it's caused this to be your foundation. Like it's sticking now. It's actually like, see, it's a different energy when you want something and you're like, I'm just gonna get that. And then you like put a foundation in there and then you go for it. This is different. This is like I took my time. I'm really working on what I want. I'm really paying attention to me. I'm really valuing myself. I'm really like, that's what I feel like. I feel like you're in a good space. You're not in the best space yet, but you're in a good space, right? And for some of you, I'm going to say I feel a little sad because for some of you, how do I say this? I feel like you've had so many disappointments and you've had so many betrayals and you've had so many things go wrong, but you're able to look at the whole picture and say, but I've had a lot of things go right too. And you're like, yeah, this is just kind of the balance in them both. But what it's done is it's caused you to lose your fire. It's caused you to be complacent. And that's not who you are. You're not supposed to be complacent. That's not who you are. You're a fire sign. You're supposed to have the passion all the time. Okay, maybe not 24/7, but you know what I mean. Like when you want something or when you dream. But I feel like this is maturity for you. I feel like this is like you really saw what you needed to see over the last 4 years. And then you left it there. You haven't like gotten the fire back in your belly. So I feel like you are working on this thing, but it isn't like the focus of what you're working on, right? I feel like you've learned a lot to calm down and really balance your nervous system, your energy. So that's your foundation. I feel like you can make some really, really good decisions right now. So I just heard that so my higher self wants me to tell you, you can make some really good decisions right now. You don't need to worry about not seeing it clearly. They want you to have the confidence in that. I don't know what this is, but it's important because like my higher self said it clearly. You are in a place where you can make some really good decisions. You just need to you don't fall back on not trusting yourself. Trust yourself. Okay? So, the energy that's coming in is the 10 of wands. Now, this is where you're headed. The 10 of wands. I feel like I was trying to understand why the 10 of wands, but I feel like some of you had some things come in. Okay, in the past you were fearless, right? And then you got shit blew up around you. Okay? And then what you did was you stopped working on it. Okay? And now I feel like you're in a place where you're making some good decisions and you were deciding on whether you wanted to work on this or that, or and it has a lot to do with relationships, partnerships. That's really focused on you right now. What I feel like you have to do, this energy that's coming in, is there's going to be some things that you did not handle yet that are going to be coming in so that you can handle them. The 10 of Wands, and this is stuff you didn't want to look at. This is stuff you thought was through, you were over with. Like, you're like, I feel like some of you are like, phew, nobody knew about that one. Or, phew, okay, I got, I escaped that, right? Like, that's what I feel like, and I feel like that's going to come up again. And I feel like, but that's good. I feel like it's a good thing because I feel like it's the energy finally moving for you because it hadn't moved in a long time. It really hadn't moved in a long time, and I'm sorry I'm moving my mic, but it got really close to my lips. So this is gonna feel a little. Let me see if I can say this correctly to get into your energy and the way that you see things. This could begin to feel like it's overwhelming and oh my God, I do have to deal with this. And it's going to be emotionally like, ugh, and physically like, ugh. But here's what I want you to know, that's where you work best. You're not a water sign that, oh my God, it's too much emotion and I got to like feel my way through this. That's not you. You work best. It reminds me, because you guys know I was in the medical field for 20 years, right? It reminds me of when we had, I mean, I worked in different departments before going to research, but it reminds me of when there was an emergency, if I was in hospital, right? Like if I was around hospital. When there was an emergency, everybody just did like that's where they would get zoned in, and you can still see it to this day in the medical field and the health field in the hospital, if there's a code blue, if there's a code whatever, like everybody just gets all of a sudden calm and directed and then they work better. Like they don't even have to say much. They just know what to do. It's just an automatic. They're not thinking about it, they're just doing it. That's where you work better. That's who you are. You can get in the zone. Like in the beginning, you may feel like it's going to be overwhelming. Oh, do I want to do this? And am I ready for that? And a little bit of fear comes out, and then some obsession comes out, and you're going to try to like control it, whatever. That's in the beginning, but then I feel like you back off, and even though it's the 10 of wands, you know how to make the action. You know how to do the thing. And that's maybe a fear in the beginning, but once you get through that fear, you're going to like soar because that's where you work best. I hope that makes sense, which is why I was having a confusion about this is what's in your way. This is what's going to be holding you back. This is what's uh, yeah, this is what holds you back. This is what's in your way. This is what's blocking you. However you want to say this. It's the Wheel of Fortune. And I was wondering why, like, you had the Wheel of Fortune in this part, but I'm seeing that if you're in fear of picking up those pieces and actually dealing with them and thinking it's going to be overwhelming and too much and do I want to do it, this is where you're best. This is what you do. You're an action sign. Like you take action, you make choices. You are and then you're a Leo at that. So you have a lot of confidence. And I feel like you getting back into that, you're thinking it's a rat race, but you don't understand that you've grown and that it's going to be different. And it's like that energy, like I said, of people that know exactly what to do and they don't even have to talk about it. They just do it whenever the code comes, whenever the emergency comes, whenever. That's what I feel like the Wheel of Fortune. The other part of this is another group in this group. This Wheel of Fortune, I feel like you don't feel like you're, which is interesting for a Leo. You don't feel like you're worth it. I think you have some shame about what you've done or what people have done to you. I feel like you haven't been through like gotten all the way. And that's not everybody. That's like the small group in the group, okay? The really small group in the group. I feel like you don't feel like you're worth it. I feel like you don't want to like shame, like how could I do those things to those people? How could I be that way to da 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 da? And you haven't you know what, Leo? You need to forgive yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to forgive yourself. You are human like everybody else. You make mistakes like everybody else. But I feel like whatever this is, it really weighs on your heart and it's holding your heart back. That's what I feel like with this. Now, this is your outcome. Your outcome is the Emperor, which to me, of course it is. That's who you are. You are building your future and your now, understanding that you not only don't want to do this life alone, but don't have to do this life alone. And you're seeing where you can be in, I don't want to say groups, but where you can build the thing that you want. And for some of you, that's like a family. For others of you, that's a community. For others of you, that's an actual life. Like, I want a house, I want a community, I want a whatever. Like, this is your outcome. But the emperor is different than the kings or the queens. The emperor builds an understanding. He's past the king and queenship. He doesn't need to be honored. He doesn't need to be doted on. He doesn't need the reference. He understands that what he's built took everyone that's in his community to build it. So all those people around you, that's kind of where you're coming to is understanding the camaraderie, the communion together, the yeah, I'm seeing like where you're happy and it starts with this new moon because this is all about the new moon and I feel like in the new moon in the next month you will be working on opening that up. You will get some messages, you will find some people. You're not finding them, you're actually just attracting them and you're getting the things to come to fruition that you had almost given up on and were gun shy about because you were dealing with all the emotional stuff. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, I know this is a very short four-card pull. I hope this helps. This is about the new moon. Again, I think you need to journal. I'm seeing that again. And take the Epsom salt bath. And please let me know um, if you like this, how you like that. Let me know your story. I haven't been in your energy. I want to thank you for letting me in your energy. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I haven't been in Leo energy in a long time. So, I will see. Let me know if you like this, because I'm kind of working on what I'm going to do on my channel. For those of you that hadn't seen me yet, um, I'm coming back to YouTube. I've been off of YouTube for a while. I've been kind of back and forth, but this next year, that's one of my goals is to be on YouTube full time again. So, love you, love you, love you. Bye.